Hello, it's me again. This time I'm at sea on the Carnival Venezia. And right now we're heading into Puerto Rico, San Juan, and we're going to have a lot of fun when we get there. But right now I want to show you this cabin. I should have brought it up earlier in the week, but we've been having so much fun. I just haven't had a chance to do the video to show you what this cabin looks like. So the cabin right now looks totally lived in. It's totally lived in. I'm even going to show you our unmade bed because I'm going to let the steward do it because that's the one part of my vacation. I don't have to make up my bed like I do at home. So you're going to see a total lived in standard balcony cabin. So let's just check it out. Let me flip this. All right, so let's just start with the bathroom. Should add this light cut on. All right, so this is the standard size. Oh, the cool part about this one, it's called the Carnival Venezia, but this particular ship used to be the Costa Venezia. So Costa is owned by Carnival, and their ships are all Italian style. So you'll see the decorations in here that gives it this little Italian flair. So this is our shower. Right now it's our drying station for our snorkel gear because we went snorkeling yesterday. Yesterday we were in, man, where the heck were we yesterday? That's the thing about this. After a while, you start forgetting what day it is. It's Wednesday. So it's Wednesday, and like I said, we're heading into San Juan. So this is here, our space where we can keep our hanging clothes. And we got hooks down there we can hang on a door. We even got a hook here that we haven't even used yet. And then we have this vanity section with the Italian flair mirror. And then we have a little sofa here. And actually, if a third person probably could sleep on that, and they'll just make it into a bed, but there's only two of us in here. And then with this group, the group of six of us, three of us are celebrating their 70th birthday, and my husband's one of those. So this room is decorated with stuff for the birthday. Here's our nice one unmade bed with the purple pillow, and you can see the background that's Italian-ish. So here we go, and then we have this balcony, little birthday package on the door because we celebrate birthday. Here's our balcony with two seats, and right now, as I said, we're at sea, but we're approaching San Juan, Puerto Rico. Beautiful day. So when we get to San Juan, we don't have a shore excursion planned because we've been to San Juan. So we're just gonna go out and walk for a few hours and see what may be different or whatever. So we're just gonna do that. It's gonna be totally relaxing, unscheduled. So the only schedule we have is no schedule. For some of you know what time we go breakfast, lunch, or dinner. We just know sometime today we go eat, sometime today we go to walk on that land, and today will be what it is. And hopefully we get a chance to hang out with the friends that we met here, that we know here. There's six of us, two couples, and like I said, three of the people of the six are celebrating their 70th birthday. So here, that's all it is. It's just, this is a standard balcony in the Costa, I'm going to call it the old name, in the Carnival Valencia. The reason why Carnival switched, they took this particular ship from their Costa line and moved it over to the Carnival line because Carnival was retiring several of their older ships, and so they were getting a little short on the number of ships they have, and they had a lot of customers that wanted to go on the regular Carnival. So they took one of their Costa lines while they were in the meantime building new ships, because they got new ships that's coming out that's bigger. But in between time, they needed another ship to fill the gaps, so to speak. So they took one of their Costa Venezia, transferred it to Carnival Venezia, and that's how we're here. So they actually market this particular cruise ship by calling it Carnival Italian style, because the art, all the architecture in here is just, you could tell, you feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm in Italy somewhere, whatever those different cities are, you feel like you're in those spaces, walking through the artwork, the architecture, the furniture has this Italian flair to it. Sometimes they have Italian food, but it's not as intense like it would be if it was a real Costa. So it's just a transfer in. So it's kind of different that way. So loving it, having a great time. Like I said, we went snorkeling yesterday in Here we go. I can't even remember where we went snorkeling. Oh, we were in Amber Cove. We went to Amber Cove and snorkeled. And that was the best thing because we did a little shore excursion only just to get us to a beach so that we could snorkel. We didn't want nothing that had a lot of stuff because normally we do a lot of high adventure stuff, hiking in mountains, biking. They got a lot of that adventure stuff to tourist fun, but we just wanted this time just to be completely relaxed, just get to a beach so that we could snorkel. And that's what we did yesterday. Great buffet food. It was excellent. It was the Amber Beach getaway. So at a low price, we was able to have all that food and just the beach and the snorkel for a really small dollar amount. You could read more details about that one in the written article because I wrote all kind of details about that particular voyage. So I'm going to make sure I put that link there so you can read that on your own about the details of that whole experience because I wouldn't have had the phone. And I would have had my underwater camera, could have did a video there, but now that was all about fun. I'll just write it and you can read it. Go to the link, read about that particular adventure that we did while we were, that was so good, and how it happened, because there's a lot more storyline to that. But just wanted to give you a quick glimpse of what our cabin looks like here on the Carnival Venezia, a balcony, just a standard balcony cabin. See you later, because I gotta go eat my breakfast. See you later. Bye. Hello. As I mentioned in the video about the cabin, the Carnival Venezia is one of the Carnival's cruise ships that was moved from their Costa line to the Carnival line. The Carnival line needed another ship to fill in while some of their older ships were retired and newer ships were being built. So at the same time, Costa had less cruisers on their ships due to the majority of the Asian market and also Italian market who sailed on the Costa because of the pandemic and other situations. So Costa had too many ships in its inventory. So it moved actually 3 of their ships, and the Venezia was one of them. So they moved 3 of their ships, and it worked out conveniently since the C is on there. They kept that C from the Costa line because it still worked with the Carnival line, even though it has a totally different look than the Carnival fin. So this still works for them. So this ship has all kinds of Italian artwork, architecture, and a full-size gondola on the ship, which I'll show you in these other pictures. Now that I've been on this ship, I actually went to see the real Venezia city in Italy because there were so many pictures, architectures, all kind of things that were there that made you actually feel like you were in that venue, but you're on a cruise ship instead. So the ship has several pools. It has a kid splash area, 3 waterfalls, and it also has a rope course on the top deck. I was hoping to try that thing, but ran out of time. And even besides the running out of time, there were several days when it was just a bit too windy, so it wasn't even open. So if I had time, I couldn't do because the weather said, no, we don't want you blowing off the ship. So missed out on that one. So maybe on another, I don't know if it would be a Costa line because I can't remember right offhand. I think Carnival, the other ships might have that rope course, so we'll see. It wasn't meant to be this time. So anyway, then it also has an adult area with several hot tubs, and it is only for adults, and it also has a pool for adults only. All right, so the ship's interior outside parts were beautiful. Like I said, the Italian style was everywhere. You really can't see it here because there's just too much to see. I didn't want to take pictures of every little, and the ship had so many nooks and crannies for you to sit and relax. It was a cool way to have a ship of thousands of people on it, but it not feel like there were thousands of people because you had so many different small venues that you could sit together with friends and family or new friends and family, all with this Italian motif going on. And this is just the center of the ship with the lion there, and then the back of the ship at nighttime when the sun was setting. So it's just a really beautiful ship with this Italian flair. The Italian decor went as far as the gondola on the ship. I almost missed this because this was in our dining area. So it's only on the lower level of the dining area. You could see up top the upper level. So we were always on the lower level, and somehow I walked past that thing several times, and I finally got it almost it went midway through the sailing. I said, wait, what the heck is that over there? So that's just cool just to slip over there and looks, wow. If it wasn't for the fact that there wasn't any real water there, it looks like, wow, you're right there on one of their where the gondolas sail down those little rivers or valleys, or can't even get the verbiage for what do you call it thing. It just went right out of my head, like stuff usually happens here. But you know what I'm trying to say, where the gondolas sail in Italy, canals, whatever. I can't, the word is gone. But so that was just cool, just seeing a life-size canal gondola there, because that just makes me really want to go to Italy. Italy is on my bucket list anyway, just for all kind of reasons, because I just like to travel. So, like I was saying, this ship, along with two other ships, were transferred to the Carnival line. The other ship was called the Costa Luna, Luminosa. In 2022, it became the Carnival Luminosa. And then Costa Firenze became the Carnival Firenze in 2024. So this Costa, the Venezia, came in 23. So those three are now under that cruise line. Went from Costa to Carnival, and then they had a fourth ship that was sold to an entirely different entity. A lot of cruise lines do. They're older ships or something different about their ship that they don't need anymore. They'll sell it to some other cruise line or some other type of sailing company that will repurpose that ship for some other use. So that's where their fourth Costa went. So I really hate to think that, I'm sure most of you heard this, that I forget what year that was, because I know I was around at the time when one of the Costa ships were literally grounded on ground, and due to a mishap. Hope that didn't really start the downfall of the Costa line, because that just wasn't good for the people that were on the ship when that happened, and then just for anybody coming after. Because I know when we got on this ship, we were in the parking lot chit-chatting with people that we don't even know, and the one guy was saying, well, I hope this one doesn't get grounded. I'm like, what? Seriously, you bring that up? And this was like a long time ago, a good decade. But he brought it up, so you just never know what people think about. So hopefully that wasn't it. But the pandemic really set it off worse, so that didn't help. So here we also have the putt-putt golf that I was talking about. That's on the ship. And then behind me, up high up there, you can see this blue rack of metal. That's the course I was just telling you about that I didn't get a chance to climb on, the rope course. And then behind that wall, there's a white wall, there's a basketball court for people to play basketball on. So there's all kinds of things you can do on this ship. That's one thing I like about cruising. There's lots of things to do on the ship, let alone just off the ship. So in the sailing, we visited Amber Cove, and we went to Amber Beach Club. So Amber Cove is on the Dominican Republic, and I don't have a clue why I was thinking when I went on the sailing, because it wasn't a sailing that I booked. So for some reason, it was just friends was booking it because three of the people were celebrating their 70th birthday, and it was one of the rare times that I was not the one that booked the cruise, because I'm used to being a travel agent where I used to book groups and stuff. So this was one of the rare times when I was like, okay, hey, where is it? How much is it? How much? Let me go. Not me planning it and orchestrating it. So I was always not quite sure what my itinerary was, because I was thinking, we're going somewhere in the Caribbean, what people would ask. So this particular situation, they said we're going to Amber Cove, and I, for some crazy reason, thought Amber Cove was one of Carnival's private islands. Don't ask me why, because I still don't understand that. But then a couple of days before that, I said, wait a minute, let me check my geography. No, Amber Cove is part of Dominican Republic. That's not a private island. So we're going to land on a bigger mass of property, because I'm thinking, okay, if it's their private island, I've done this with other cruise lines, and there's two, that I would just use the amenities of the private island. But this is not a private island. It's part of Dominican Republic. So you're only getting off to go to maybe a little shopping area, and then they'll take you somewhere else on a short excursion or on a bus or a taxi or whatever you want to use to go somewhere else. So we quickly, when I realized that,
last minute old school method. We used to do this back in the day when I first started cruising 30 years ago. We would do our shore excursions on the ship because that was the only way you could do it, because back then the technology wasn't like that where you could now book your shore excursions a month to a year in advance. So on the ship, on the phone, on the actually on my phone, through the whole app, I booked those. All I wanted was an inexpensive way to get to a beach, and that was it. Just needed a beach so we could snorkel, and that's what I did. We took the Amber Beach Club experience just to get us to the beach, and that was the best thing because I think it only cost like $35 for us a piece. So that wasn't much money, $70 just to get there, just to get to a beach. Had great food. Actually, when we got there, it had a buffet kind of set up. So it was great food, and we had the beach, and we was able to snorkel. Super simple, last minute. It was probably one of the better shore excursions we've done in a minute. And we saw lots and lots of fish and everything. So what I'm hoping is that at the end of this video, I'm going to show you one of our snorkel videos with the fish. So it'll just be some way to end this so you can see just a few fish that we saw, because I had several different videos, so I picked the one that had the most fish in it. But it was so much fun. We snorkeled for a good hour, and then thereafter we were hungry and we ate probably for another good hour. It was so good. So we had lots of pictures. And then we also went to San Juan, Puerto Rico. We had been there before. Only new place we went this time was the Amber Cove. The other places on this itinerary we have been to San Juan. We've stayed overnight in San Juan. We've sailed out of San Juan. We've been to San Juan a lot. So this time we say, okay, we're just going to walk around. I could do a shore excursion. That's just exactly what we did. We just walked in the streets around the area and took pictures of all kind of new things that had changed since we were there last. So that was fun, just walking the streets, checking out the neighborhood, and buying some things that we needed at a local Walmart. So then the other location we went to was St. Thomas. And we've been to St. Thomas a lot of times. We've snorkeled there, we've scuba dived there, we've gone on a hike there. We've done a lot of stuff on St. Thomas. And my husband wanted to see St. John because he had never seen it. And I've been to St. John several times. And he's told me that for some reason, every time he wants to do the St. John, something happens. I remember the one time we tried to do St. John, they canceled it because the weather was just so bad. Water was tossy. And so they had to cancel it because in order to go to St. John, you dock at St. Thomas with the ship, and then you take a shore excursion on a smaller boat and go over to St. John, which is nearby. So ship cannot get close to St. John. So the one ship one time was canceled because of the weather. He said there was another time. I can't remember that other time. So he said this was the third one. So this was the third attempt for him to go to St. John, but unfortunately he wasn't feeling well. So we canceled because he wasn't feeling well. So we'll see if one day he will get a chance to see St. John, which is a beautiful island, another one of the Virgin Islands that's beautiful. And it's just a nice place. And we were hoping to snorkel there too, because that was going to be a good, beautiful place to snorkel on the world famous beaches there. So we walked in St. Thomas instead and just made some purchases. So this was the best cruise ever. I mean, we had so much fun with people, the adventures, the food, but there were 7 things I didn't like. And this is the first time ever that I've had to say something negative about a cruise sailing. Rarely do I have anything negative. I do is maybe 1. And this time I had number 7. Normally 7 is perfection, but this time not so. And I have sailed 30 years on 28 different cruise voyages on 4 different cruise lines for now a total of 156 days. So these are my 7 things that I did not like about this particular sailing. So this is, okay, I have to have distilled water for my navage. Everybody knows I have a sinus issue in addition to my lung issue. So I have to use this device called a navage to flush my sinuses out. I always call it a neti pot on steroids because it's motorized and it's flushing the water in. So I have to use distilled water for that. So on other cruise lines, I haven't had any problems. They'll just give me free distilled water, and they will pay attention, and then they will notice, oh, you're running low, so they'll give me another one. Here, this time, I don't even know what made me look at it. Probably because, well, I always try to research or make sure I'm prepared to go on any cruise ship, regardless of whether I've been on a ship or not. So I just checked to see, because I hadn't been on Carnival for a minute, to make sure if they do the same thing. And then I found out, no, I don't know if it's a ship thing or it's a ship, or if it's just this ship specific. I got a funny feeling it's got to be a ship-wide thing. I had to buy the distilled water. So I had to order it ahead of time. I mean, the water didn't cost that much. It was like $5 or something like that. So actually, maybe it wasn't $5, maybe a little bit more than that, because usually you can get a distilled water for $1 or something in the store. So whatever it cost me, I had to pay for it. It wasn't free. And they didn't really, were discouraging you from bringing the distilled water. They were really more concerned about if you had a CPAP machine. So if you had a CPAP machine, you had to actually, this is what they were saying. Now, whether they did it or not, because I didn't see people, this happening when we were going check it into the ship. I didn't see this happening. But what their written material says that in order to bring your own distilled water on, you have to have the CPAP in one hand, the water in the other hand, basically. And so this is why I'm bringing the water on. I'm not bringing it to drink water, because they want you to buy their water, of course. Not just distilled water, fresh water, any other kind of water. They want you to buy that, not bring your own. But sometimes they still let people bring stuff on, because we did see people bringing water and drink, what do you call it? Not adult drinks, but pop soda on. So I think sometimes the rule might be one thing written, but then they may be a little lax or not merciful when it comes to doing this. But in this case, I didn't want to take a chance. So I went on and ordered the distilled water, paid for that, and it was already in the cabin when I got there. I just didn't like the idea that I had to pay for it ahead of time, which is crazy, because I was going to pay for $1 or something on my own. But it's just the fact that I had got spoiled on another cruise line when it was free. All I had to do was ask for it. So on another cruise line, they have all chats where you could talk to your friends, and it's all free. Where on Carnival, we got to pay $5 per person. So that means if my husband and I both wanted to be part of a chat, we have to pay $10, $5 each. So I got the $5 for me, because we were interacting with two other couples on the ship that was also celebrating their 70th. So each of the spouses, the wives, we all bought the chat and chatted amongst us, and the husbands, not so much. They just had to get the information relayed through us instead of paying $10 per couple. So it was that just 5 was good enough. I don't think they really wanted to chat anyway, because my husband's not a text chatter. So we had to do that. And there was always some kind of technical issue with that sometimes. So it kind of frustrated me when the technical didn't happen. And I'm like, I paid $5 for this, and it's not quite working today. Or I didn't get the message until a day later, So that was interesting. Yeah, it's only $5, but I'm just saying, once you're used to free, I'm just saying. So on the mandatory lifeboat drill, man, they didn't do us the old school way where back in the day, before you sailed off, they would take you, have everybody line up at the actual lifeboat that you would be going off of if the ship should sink. So they would line you up by those lifeboats, because you're assigned by the lifeboat based on where your cabin location is. So we'd actually line us up there, and even further back in the day, they had us actually put on our life preservers. So that was hot, wearing these hot life preservers, going up and down stairs, lined up with a bunch of people lined up with our life preservers on. But the good part about that, you knew exactly where the boats are. So if anything did happen, you wanted to get out of there. I always said that if the ship was going down, there was no way I was going to be running to look at, where's boat number 5? It'll be like, I got my life preserver on, and I'm out of the first boat possible. I'm not going to be running down the deck to look for the one I'm supposed to be getting in. So we already know the realities of that. But the good part is that way you knew exactly where it was, as opposed to trying to figure that out when something may happen. And that's such a rare thing anyway. So it's just like you do with the plane situations. You just got to know what those emergency procedures are, just in case. So in this case, they had us gather at our muster stations. And this time the muster stations were in different rooms. Ours ended up being in the casino area, which is a little crampy off weird shape kind of situation. We are all packed up in together like sardines. And we've done that method before on other cruise lines and with Carnival, where you went, but usually it's a bigger, open, more spacier area, like an auditorium or outside or something. This time it was a little cramped. But the point is, we've done this method. Our issue was, it was after a pandemic. It was after a pandemic, and there was a lot of people on top of each other, and it took a minute. I mean, we might have been there a good half an hour. And I was like, I'm not liking this. I needed my I wanted my K95 mask so fast, and I had it with me, but I wasn't thinking about bringing it to the muster thing. I was like, oh shoot, these people breathing on each other. So as I'm praying, okay, God, don't let us get COVID here, because this is a lot of time with a lot of people unexpectedly. So there we go. So far, we didn't get COVID from that particular sailing. So on other cruises, and Carnival included, because I was thinking, since I hadn't been on Carnival in a minute, even though more of my sailings, I was telling you about all those sailings that I've been on, 28 different cruise voyages, over half of that is on Carnival, but they were before the pandemic. So I haven't been on a Carnival before the pandemic, so I hadn't quite seen what their methodology is. I've been reading about it. It's a different thing to read about something as opposed to doing it. I've been on other cruise lines. So there's those other cruise line numbers are starting to catch up with the Carnival. So I got used to this a different method. So I was wondering, well, is this what Carnival's doing now? They're still doing this method? Because on the other cruise lines, they have a quicker method where it takes only about 5 minutes to do this thing. You do it in advance. Sometimes the day before, we would do our what they would talk to you about what the horn sounds like. It would make the sound. It actually have you looking through at a lecture, reading it, hearing it. And then you would have to physically go to the particular muster station and say, yeah, I did the homework assignment, so let's move on with the cruise. And it only took 5 minutes, and you just think you in, and it was all good. So this way, when we physically did this, like, oh man, Carnival's still doing this. But I found out from one of the other people in this compacted space, said, no, it's this particular ship. So, because they were fussing, they were like, yeah, on Carnival, blah, blah, blah. It only takes 5 minutes. We do that. So, I was like, okay. So it's a ship thing. So when you think about that, when you go on a cruise, on any cruise, make sure if you have some kind of complaint that is, whether it's a cruise, because each cruise has its own management system, and each has their own method of running their ship. And so they're just overall do whatever the overall arching rules are, but they manage them different. So this is not a Carnival cruise method. It's just what this particular ship was doing. So I don't know if it's something that because maybe the whole Costa line did that. I don't know. Or if it's just that particular ship. Because we've been on other ships where the management is just like over the top. And it's like, wow, this is not a cruise line thing. This management on this particular cruise ship is just that way. Because if the captain, the head man in charge, is on the top, over the top, then everybody else falls in line just like that. So it's this particular cruise ship. So it's a Costa. It's not Costa. It's a Costa Venezia thing. So let me know if the other two are doing the same thing. So hopefully that won't be something they'll continue. Even though I just saw an article recently, yesterday, that maybe Carnival is thinking about going back to the old school method of muster station. Like, how do it, especially after the pandemic, because you just don't want that many people together that long. Because it's just not cool. All right, so this time we had my time dining. Well, it's not on our time. My time dining, so I'm like, okay, I want to go at 5, I want to go to 6, I want to go to 7, I want to go at 8, I want to go to 9, whatever, and I can go eat. But that's not how it works. Anytime we want to dine, I like to do the more traditional dining for dinner, but then for breakfast and lunch we'll do whatever, either in the dining room or we'll go to wherever their buffet areas are or their other venues, because all cruise ships have buffet areas. They got different names for them. And then for Carnival, it's usually the Lido deck is where the buffet is. And then they have other restaurants where you can pay to do those particular type of extra venues that you might like to pay for. We rarely do that. I only do maybe one. We did do the wings on this particular one because that was a nice wing place, and it was the bomb. So we did pay for those wings at this particular wing venue, and I can't even think of the name of the thing right now, the name of the restaurant, but it was so good, just for a change of pace, but not as usual. Because they have steak places, all that kind of stuff. For me, if I'm going to get a steak, I'm still going to do it in the traditional dining and get the steak there because the steak is just as good. And if I really wanted Richter, lean, prime, whatever, okay, then I'll pay for it, but still in the traditional, not go to one of the restaurants and do that. So it's just not something I do. I just want to be able to pay for my food all done up front. And if we want to do something extra, cool. Because they have Japanese places, Chinese places, all kind of stuff that you pay extra for. But anyway, so it's my time dining. We had several situations where our particular group wanted to do, what was it? Some kind of special buffet and day at sea brunch, and we never could do that because everybody wanted to go. We couldn't get in there, so we had to wait a minute, and then they canceled us. So we never even got a chance to see what that is all about. And then the My Time Dining, regardless of when you came on this particular ship, because I don't want to say it's a Carnival cruise line thing because I don't know. Like I said, I haven't done Carnival since before the pandemic. So I just know that the My Time Dining in this situation was a little rough because you always had to wait. I mean, it was a rare time that we just walked up and was ready to go. So you had to put yourself on a waiting list in the app ahead of time, preferably, and then it would tell you, oh, your table's ready, table number 55, come on down. So that part I wasn't too crazy about. So if I ever do a carnival again, then I'll definitely will make sure I'm on my traditional time because I didn't like the My Time dining, just to make sure it's not a carnival thing and not as opposed to a ship thing. In this case, I got a funny feeling it's a ship thing, so I don't know what's going on with that. I've never seen that before because we've been on other cruise lines and carnival, and we've done these venues where you come and go over time and you just wait for the table to be open. It's like you go to a regular restaurant. Okay, it's going to be a 15-minute wait, and then you wait and get your seat. Here, sometimes it was not that case. Sometimes it was a long wait, and it was just not cool. So, and this, for some reason, was the first ship ever where there were no shops that provided items such as toiletries, snacks, toothbrushes, sunscreen, headache, nausea pills, and other personal things that you might forget or need that you didn't even know you had a need for. It was the weirdest thing because we looked all over the place like, where is that shop? Usually it's there with all kind of stuff where you can get blankets and towels. I don't even know why that was not on this ship. So I don't know. So this is obviously a ship thing because Carnival's other ships do have this. So I don't know if it's from the former Costa thing that maybe that particular market of people didn't need those kind of things. I don't know, because like I was saying, it's a Asian, Italian market. So I don't know if that's what that's all about. But they didn't have none. And a lot of us complained too. So when we got down in Puerto Rico, we all was at Walgreens buying these things that we needed. And that has never happened, ever. So I don't know what that's all about. So that was the one thing we did miss. Because there were a few things that we needed. Right now I can't even tell you what they were. I just know we were looking for them. We couldn't find them. So, and this number 6 was very shocking to me because our cabin was extremely dusty. I don't know if it's because I'm extra sensitive to the dust because I have a dust allergy, but dust is everywhere. You cannot escape dust. There's no such thing as a house, cabin, store, anywhere that don't have dust. So it's just something I have to live with, have to deal with, why I have to have certain medications, why I have to have the lavage to flush out the dust, flush out pollen, flush out viruses, all that kind of stuff, because I'm extra allergic to dust, mold, trees, pollen, dog, cat. So, but this place was extremely dusty. And I'm like, what? Because I had to wipe down. Okay, we go into any cabin, any hotel anyway. We wipe down the location anyway. We always check the beds. Always. I don't care who the cruise line is, how luxurious the hotel is, we always check the beds and make sure there's no bed bugs anyway. And I use this bed bug, bug free, and I wish I had brought it right now so I could show you. But anyway, there's bug free that you can buy, and I'll put that link in the description so that if you want to go buy some, you can go do that. It's an excellent product that we use to spray the beds down. And I always have bug free on me all the time anyway, every day, no matter where I go in life, because I don't have no intention of bringing bugs back, bugs in particular, any kind of bug, but bed bugs in particular, back to my home. So I'm wearing that every day. But on a trip, we sanitize the room, but especially the bed, to make sure there's no bed bugs. So if there's some there, we would have to leave them. I'm just grateful that we've never seen them. The issue is they don't like to be seen. So that's why you still got to spray the bed down, because they'll be seen at night. They're not trying to be seen in the day. So if you see them in the day, the infestation is horrible. And we already know about the case with Disney. That's a major player out there. Not Disney Cruise Line, but Disney World. Disney World had an issue. It had a lawsuit where people had bed bugs in their bed. So they have issues. You need to check for them no matter where you go, because they don't discriminate. They want to travel too, and that's their goal, to travel to go to another place so they can populate. So anyway, so I was already on that mode of cleaning, but then to see that I had to go a little deeper because there was so much dust. Oh my gosh, I said, dang it, I need my K95 to dust the room. That was just not cool. Not cool at all, because me and dust, I'd have been coughing the whole time. I could tell you a whole nother story about another cruise I've been on. I think I do have a video about that, about sleeping in dust, and ever since then, it just hasn't worked. So anyway, so that place was super dusty, not good. So that meant I was coming into an environment knowing that I'm going to have this problem. And I didn't really pay attention to it, but my husband did, because I didn't notice that this particular ship, so it's definitely a ship thing, hopefully not a cruise line thing, wasn't as clean. Because, okay, I already said the cabin was dusty, but they didn't do the regular wiping of touch points, like rails and stairs and stuff like that. Because on other cruise lines, you see them wiping all the time, wiping. And you can't even go into their particular buffet area, because like I said, they all get a different name. This one is called the Lido deck, because Carnival's Lido. That you cannot enter the dining area on other cruise lines and Carnival. Well, I'll just go with other cruise lines, because like I said, I haven't done Carnival since before the pandemic, so I don't know if they're doing this, without them making you wash your hands, or they sanitize you with sanitizer. Because some of the other cruise lines have actual sinks and waters that you wash your hands with before you go into the buffet area, or they are because when we're doing both, spraying your hands down with sanitizers before you go. You don't have a choice. You can't get in unless you're sprayed down. Here, we just walked on in. Yeah, they had these little sanitary things you could put your hand under if you so choose, but it wasn't a mandatory thing. Now, so that right there should have been a clue. I saw this, but I wasn't even thinking about it. And I didn't even notice, till my husband told me later, that he noticed that they weren't wiping touch points all through the ship. And I was like, yeah, that's right. Now that you said that, I didn't see that, because usually on other cruise lines, we see them, you can't even go down the stairs without seeing somebody wiping the stairs down. It's just not happening, but not on this ship. So the unfortunate part about it, I don't know if because of all that, my husband did end up getting sick because of, we'll just have to say, the condition of the ship. And he ended up being sick for the last day and a half. And that was just not cool for him. So we'll just say he did end up with this norovirus. And little diarrhea, little just laid out. So I didn't get any issues like that. But yeah, when things are not as clean as they should be, that means, especially in a buffet kind of situation, you're going to catch some. So we are also platinum members, which is one step down from the highest diamond level in this particular cruise line, not the Carnival, but Costa, but Carnival. And there's always all these extra perks you get. Usually you get this free drink at a at a gathering, and usually it's a nice little party for half an hour. They give you some updates on the ships coming and da da da, because they want you to come back, and buy and whatnot. We only got like this time a 15-minute gathering, free drink like you normally do in a song and dance, literally by somebody who was singing, and then they did go through the ships, but they didn't really go into any details about the new ships. The interesting part was so quick, 15 minutes, that all the platinum and diamond people, they were like, "That's it? It's over? We just sat down. Oh, wow, it was amazing that it was that quick." He even said it was going to be short. But, we've heard that song and dance before. It'll be short, and half hour later, you're still there. But who cares? Because we're on vacation. It's not like we had to be somewhere. We had a date. It really was 15 minutes. But that wasn't my real issue. My real issue was the fact that once you get onto a ship, they always give you a ship pin that says a VIP ship. And it's like, in this case, it should have been Carnival Venezia VIP pen. There should have been some kind of Carnival logo thing. This time we had nothing. There was nothing in the cabin. And I didn't even think about it at the time because I was just so happy to be on the ship. We were celebrating my husband's 70th birthday. The room was decorated for his 70th birthday, but didn't notice that the Carnival stuff was not there. And I was like, wow, wait, that's what it should have been. And I'm probably still going to have to contact president on that one, maybe, because it just hit me that, wait, we didn't get that. So where was that kind of stuff? We didn't get that at all. So I'm not saying I need all that. I'm just saying that I was noticed that the ship didn't have it and it wasn't done. Especially since there was a particular VIP, not even a VIP, it's just a logo piece that I was wondering if he's going to get, because they were talking about this was their new thing and we didn't get it. So I don't know if it was just because this cruise ship didn't do it, because Carnival was still doing it. So I don't know what happened on the management side, or if they ran out, because there were a lot of platinum and diamond on this ship. And I know they've been having that situation as a cruise line, because they have so many platinum and diamond members now that they are right now reevaluating how they're going to do their frequent sale method of rewarding people for coming back. But we didn't get nothing. So it's as trite. It's just minor, but I had to add it to my number 7. So here we go. So in spite of all that, we had a fabulous, even though we had 7 negatives, it got us to where we needed to be. We got to see some great places. We got to hang out with a bunch of new people. We got new friends. We even met somebody, a new family. That was really a small world, running into somebody that know my cousin in North Carolina. So I can't wait to see if we get to hang out with them again when we get down there for North Carolina for a family reunion, or any other time we're down there. So in spite of all that negativity, the 7, which we had to live with, it was still a fun ship. It's just that the negativity kind of outbalanced. The balance is not. It's just like, okay, I would not personally go back on this particular ship. Now I'd go back on Carnival, but go back on that particular ship because something's not going well with the management of that particular ship. And they've been there since, well, for the Carnival 23, but they've been in the market longer than that. So I don't know what that means. So I'm just saying, it was the best cruise never. Not like that one I talked about the Panama Canal, because that was the best cruise ever. But this was like, we won't be going back on that particular ship again, because it's like the 7 outweighs the great fun that we had, even though the fun was fun, because it was the fun ship, Italian style. So there we go. So there's going to be a video after this with the fish. So hopefully just seeing the little fish will be a good way to end this, as you get a chance to see this little bit of the underwater world that we saw while we were on this cruise. So had a good time. Just not going to do it again on this particular ship. Hope you have a great weekend and enjoy going on any cruise line, but this particular ship. I just hate the fact that I got to do a negative. I'm not used to saying a negative, but it's all good. We got a good time. He was fighting the negatives. So see you later. Bye. Mm-hmm.